Joining us live now is our political editor, Andrew Clennell. Back to climate wars. The wound is open again.
Yeah, back to climate wars. And, I mean, they're trying to sell a different message in Victoria and Queensland.
Yeah.
They've sort of got Bill Shorten's problem, the coalition, from the last election. So it's intensely difficult, isn't it? I'm intrigued by the fact that Scott Morrison, in the last few days, including when I was with him, has been to a few Queensland seats with a margin of 8%.
Yeah.
Why? Now, someone from his camp said to me, well, there's not safe or marginal in Queensland. There's only stable or volatile, so we're making sure. But nevertheless, I wonder if Queensland's more of an issue in this election than we previously thought it is.
Josh Frydenberg wasn't too alarmed by Matt Canavan's comments when he was on the show this morning. He said that publicly anyway, but privately they must be pretty miffed at Canavan's comments and even Colin Boyce's comments, right? Because now it's ignited again.
Well, I've heard from a number of people that Josh Frydenberg's pretty worried about his seat.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear we might have a People's Forum down there by the sound of things, fingers crossed. But, you know, that's a distraction when he's normally such a big campaigner against Labor and their supposed tax plans, etc., that he's got to concentrate so hard on his home patch.
But, I mean, even Labor's got its issues on this front anyway at the moment, doesn't it? With confusing messages around carbon taxes and what companies will be under that umbrella.
Absolutely, but I just don't think the safeguards mechanism takes off with people in the way that a carbon tax
because it's confusing.
Yeah.
Most people don't know what...
It confuses us, let alone the punters. So, So, I think, they've got a few issues, and I think their main issue is not being able to explain it, which feeds more into, like Richard Marles couldn't with Jonathan Lee on the weekend, which feeds a bit more into, do these guys know what they're doing, as opposed to people thinking their power bills are going to shoot up.
Speaking of that, inflation figures out today. We're looking at some pretty bad ones. We could be heading towards, GFC type levels, 15-year highs when it comes to inflation. It's all on the current government's watch. Yeah. What sort of an impact do you think this could have in the election? Well,
what a coincidence that the government payments happen to come in today.
It's almost like they planned this.
Oh, who would have, But look, obviously it has an impact. Cost of living's number one in terms of most polls for the most important issue. It's really a question of whether people think there'd be inflation under either government, perhaps worse under Labor, because they're less good at managing the economy. That's what the government will be hoping for. Look, they could have the inflation this week and an interest rate rise next week, a double whammy, the coalition. Yeah. And when Scott Morrison's getting up every day and saying, we're best on the economy, we're best on the economy, you can only really point to unemployment after that. So he'll be hoping there's no rate rise. He'll be pointing to the fact that other countries have higher inflation than us. But it does make things difficult politically.
Isn't this proof as well, too, and this comment had been made around the time of the budget, that these short-term sugar hits, these handouts, are just going to get swallowed up by inflation. These rate rises today, or that they're going to be coming, just proves that, right?
Yes, but I think politically they've proven to be quite smart. I think the government got a little bounce out of that. They also got a bounce over Albanese's unemployment gaffe. But if they hadn't have done them in the budget, they'd be in a lot more trouble at the moment as we head towards the election. Neither side is really articulating how they would treat this issue long term to make it better for Australians.
Yeah, well, the most alarming stat that I saw yesterday came from Westpac. It's pricing in 14 price hikes by the end of 2023. Wow. That's going to be coming, and that's going to have a huge impact on the
potential recession. What you're saying, 14 rate hikes?
Rate hikes.
Well, that's potential recession you're staring down the barrel of when you're talking about that.
So some economists are arguing that the RBA is going to have to go hard initially to take a lot of that sting out.
Very interesting debate. So if they hold off till after the election, it could be problematic. Yeah. They're probably better off doing it now, but that could have an influence in terms of the election. But really, if that is the case, better they go early. Yeah, and that's comes from Bill Evans, highly respected Bill Evans from over at Westpac. Thanks, Andrew. Talk to you soon.